My name is Helen. I am 31 years old. I never thought my life would change in just 1 month. I thought I had love. I thought I had someone who would stay. But I was wrong. I met Peter 5 years ago. He was not the first man I loved, but he was the first one who made me feel safe. He was quiet, but he always knew what to say. When I was with him, I didn't worry. I laughed more. I slept better. I felt like I could trust someone again. Peter and I moved in together 2 years ago. We lived in a small house near the train station. I worked at the supermarket across the street. Peter worked in a car repair shop. Our life was not big, but it felt full. On Sundays, we stayed home. We ate breakfast late and watched movies. Sometimes we argued, but we always made peace before going to bed. That made me feel strong with him. It made me believe we were good together. I never saw any signs. He didn't stop smiling. He didn't stop holding my hand. He still kissed my forehead before he left for work. So I believed everything was fine. I didn't know that love could disappear without a warning. I didn't know someone could leave without looking back. One morning, I woke up with a sharp pain in my side. I thought maybe it was just something I ate. I went to work, but I felt tired. My legs were weak. I felt hot and cold at the same time. My manager saw me and said, "Helen, you don't look good. Go home and rest." I walked home slowly. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I just wanted to sleep. That night I had a fever. Peter came home and saw me lying on the bed. I said, "I think I'm sick." He gave me a glass of water and said, "It's probably nothing. Just rest." I smiled. I thought maybe he was right. Maybe it was just the flu. But the next day, I could not get up. I tried to stand, but my legs gave up. I fell to the floor. Peter helped me back into bed. I saw the worry in his eyes, but he said nothing. He brought me soup and a wet cloth for my head. I thought, he cares. He will help me through this. Days passed. I did not get better. My body was tired. I lost weight. I could not eat much. Peter still went to work every morning, but in the evenings he stayed quiet. He stopped talking much. He looked tired too. I said, "I'm sorry. I know this is hard." He just said, "It's fine." One night, I heard him talking on the phone in the kitchen. He didn't know I was awake. I couldn't hear all his words, but I heard him say, "I don't know how long I can do this." My heart dropped. I closed my eyes and stayed quiet. I didn't ask him about the call. I was scared of the answer. 1 week later, Peter came into the room with his jacket on. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked at me. His face was cold. His voice was soft, but not kind. He said, "Helen, I need to go for a few days. I need some space." I looked at him, confused. "Go? What do you mean?" He looked away. "I can't be here right now. It's too much." I felt like the air had disappeared from the room. "I'm sick, Peter. I need you." He stood up and said, "I didn't sign up for this." Then he picked up his bag and walked out. I didn't cry at first. I just lay there, looking at the door. I waited, thinking he would come back. Maybe in an hour, maybe in the morning. But he didn't come back the next day, or the one after that. I called him once, twice. No answer. I sent a message. "Please, I'm not okay." Still no reply. My friend Nicole came by that weekend. She was shocked to see me alone. "Where is Peter?" she asked. I said, "He left. He said he needed space." Nicole looked angry. "He left you when you needed him most? When you are sick?" I nodded slowly. She sat beside me and held my hand. "I'll stay for a while," she said. That night I cried in front of someone for the first time. Nicole didn't say much. She just sat with me. That helped more than words. Each day was hard. I didn't have the strength to walk far. I stayed in bed most of the time. Nicole brought me food and helped clean the house. I didn't ask her. She just did it. I felt thankful, but also ashamed. I didn't want to be this weak. I didn't want to need help like this. I still thought about Peter. Every day. I remembered how he used to rub my back when I was tired. How he used to make tea for me after work. I asked myself, was that love real? Or was I just someone easy to leave? One morning, I got a message. It was from Peter. It said, "Hope you're okay." That was all. Just 5 words. I stared at the screen. My hands were cold. I didn't know how to feel. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask, "Why did you leave? Why didn't you stay?" But I didn't reply. Not yet. Nicole came in with a cup of tea. She saw the phone in my hand and asked, "Was it him?" I said yes. She sat down. "You don't have to answer," she said. "Not if it still hurts." I looked at her. She was right. I didn't owe him a reply. He made his choice. He left. And I was still here. I was the one who stayed. I was the one who fought to get better. He only walked away. That night, I felt something change in me. A small change, but it was there. I looked around my room. I saw the empty chair where he used to sit. I saw the blanket he always used. I saw the quiet. But I also saw something else. I saw that I was still here. And I was not done yet. Before I continue my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? Sometimes I wonder if someone out there really understands me. Just knowing you're here gives me strength. The days passed slowly. My body was still weak, but my mind was sharper now. I was starting to see things more clearly. I stopped waiting for Peter. I stopped looking at my phone every hour. I still felt pain, but it wasn't the same kind. It was not just about the sickness anymore. It was the pain of being left behind. Nicole stayed with me for 2 weeks. She cooked, cleaned, and helped me shower when I was too dizzy to stand. I was embarrassed at first, but she never made me feel small. She just said, "You helped me last year. Now it's my turn." That reminded me of who I was before all this. I was not weak. I was not just a sick woman. I was someone who cared. I was someone who had given love too. One morning, I tried to make my own breakfast. I walked slowly to the kitchen and opened the fridge. My legs hurt, but I wanted to do it. I made toast. I made tea. It was simple, but I smiled for the first time in many days. Nicole came in and clapped her hands. "Look at you," she said. "You're getting better." "I hope so," I said. "You're stronger than you think," she replied. Her words stayed with me. I thought about them while washing the cup. I thought about them while brushing my hair. Each small thing felt like a step forward. I went to the clinic that week. The nurse said I was doing better, but I needed more rest. "Don't push too fast," she said kindly. I thanked her and sat in the waiting room for a minute. I watched a little boy run to his mother. He smiled and hugged her. I felt something in my throat. Not sadness, not joy. Just something I didn't have words for. When I got home, Nicole was waiting. "Do you want to go outside for a short walk?" she asked. I nodded. We walked to the end of the street. The sun was warm. I hadn't felt it on my face in weeks. I looked up and closed my eyes for a moment. That night, I thought about Peter again. Not the pain, not the goodbye. I thought about the first time we met. It was at a small friend's dinner. He was wearing a blue shirt. He didn't talk much, but when he did, he made people laugh. I remembered thinking, he's kind. That memory made me smile, and then it faded. I didn't want to go back. Not now. The next morning, Nicole packed her things. "I think you can manage now," she said. "But I'm just one call away." I hugged her. "Thank you for not walking away." She looked at me and said, "Real friends don't walk away." After she left, the house was quiet again, but it didn't feel cold. It felt like something new, something just starting. I started doing small chores. I made my bed. I folded laundry. I took slow walks to the shop at the corner. The man there said, "Haven't seen you in a while." I smiled and said, "I was unwell." He said, "Good to see you up again." That felt nice. One afternoon, I opened the closet and saw Peter's jacket. He left it behind. I touched it for a moment, then pulled it off the hanger. I put it in a bag with the rest of the things he forgot. I placed the bag near the door. I didn't want them in the house anymore. I didn't know if I should throw the things out. I didn't want to see him again, but I didn't want to hold on to his things either. So I sent him one message. Just one. "Your things are at my door. Come get them if you want." he replied after an hour. "Thanks. I'll come tomorrow." I felt nothing. No fear. No sadness. Just calm. The next day, I waited inside. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to talk. I watched from the window. He came alone. He looked thinner. He didn't knock. He just picked up the bag and left. That was it. That night, I slept better. A few weeks later, I went back to work. My manager was happy to see me. "Take it easy," she said. "We're just glad you're okay." My first day was hard. I got tired quickly, but I felt proud. I was back. I was moving again. One of my coworkers, Rachel, asked about Peter. "Is he still around?" she said. I looked at her and said, "No, he left." She looked surprised. "I'm sorry," she said. I smiled. "Don't be. He made his choice, and now I'm making mine." I worked short shifts at first, then longer ones. I started cooking again. I started reading again. I even went to the movies with Nicole one Friday night. I laughed at something in the film. A real laugh. Not the kind you force to be polite. That night, Nicole looked at me and said, "You're coming back." I nodded. "I feel it too." One evening, I got another message from Peter. "Can we talk?" I stared at the screen. I read it twice. Then I turned the phone off. I didn't need to talk. I had said everything I needed to say by living through it. By healing. By not falling apart. A few days later, I passed his workplace by accident. He was outside, smoking. He saw me. I saw him. He raised his hand a little, unsure. I gave a soft smile and walked on. I didn't stop. I didn't feel lost. I didn't need him anymore. It was hard to believe how much could change in just a few months. I still remembered the day Peter walked out. I still remembered how I felt too weak to stand and too scared to be alone. But now I could stand. I could walk to the shop by myself. I could cook my own dinner and clean the house without help. I still felt tired sometimes, but I was getting better. Every day, I felt a little more like myself. I worked again at the supermarket, and people said, "You look well now." That made me feel good inside. Nicole still called me every week. Sometimes we met for tea. She always asked if I needed anything. I said no, I'm okay. One day she said, "You're stronger now? You don't even see it." I looked at her and said, "Maybe I do see it now." We both smiled. It was a quiet moment, but a warm one. One Saturday, I walked to the park near my street. I sat on a bench and watched children play. A woman walked past me with her dog. The air was fresh. I felt the wind on my face. It was simple, but I felt happy. I thought about Peter again, but not with pain this time. I thought, he is part of my past now. That is all. A week later, I cleaned out the small room in the back of the house. There were boxes on the floor. I opened one and found some old pictures. One photo was of me and Peter at a friend's birthday. In the photo, I was smiling. So was he. I looked at the picture for a few seconds. Then I put it back in the box and closed it. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I just felt done. That night, I made pasta and watched a film. It was not a special film, but I laughed once or twice. That felt good. Before, I didn't laugh at all. I just sat in silence, hoping not to cry. But now, I didn't feel like crying anymore. One morning, while walking to work, I saw Peter on the other side of the street. He was alone. He didn't see me at first, but then he looked up. Our eyes met. I didn't stop. I didn't wave. I just walked past him. He didn't call my name. He didn't come after me. And that was fine. I didn't want to talk to him. I had nothing to say. I didn't need answers. I didn't want to ask why. I already knew why. He left because it was easier for him. I was sick, and he didn't want to deal with it. That was the truth. And I didn't want that kind of person in my life anymore. Later that day, he sent a message. He wrote, "I saw you today. I hope you're doing okay." I didn't reply. I deleted the message. I felt nothing. Not hate, not love, just nothing. Life slowly became normal again. I worked 5 days a week. I bought new clothes. I painted my bedroom light blue. I gave away some old things. I went for walks in the evening. I even joined a small group that met once a week to talk about life. One woman there said, "I feel lost since my husband left." I didn't say much, but I looked at her and gave a small smile. I knew how that felt. She smiled back. We didn't need many words. One Sunday afternoon, I went to visit Nicole. She made tea and gave me some cookies. We sat outside in her small garden. She said, "Remember when you couldn't even walk to the kitchen? Now look at you. You walked here on your own." I said yes, and it feels good. She said, "I knew you would come back." I said, "I wasn't sure I would. But now, I think I did." Before I left, she gave me a small gift. It was just a little keychain with a heart on it. She said, "This is for you, to remind you of your own strength." I thanked her. It was a small thing, but I kept it in my bag. One evening, I sat on my sofa and looked around the house. The place felt calm now. No more waiting. No more hoping someone would come through the door. Just peace. I picked up my phone and scrolled through my contacts. I deleted Peter's number. I didn't want to see his name again. I didn't want to hear from him again. He made his choice when he walked out. He didn't stay when I needed him. And that was the end of the story. I looked out the window. The sky was dark blue. A few stars were out. I felt tired, but in a good way. I got up, turned off the light, and went to bed. As I lay down, I thought about everything: the pain, the tears, the days I couldn't stand, the silence, the fear. And now, this quiet moment. I was still here. I was still breathing. I was still standing. He left me when I was sick, but I healed without him. I didn't need someone to save me. I saved myself.